We're coming at you live from Popeyes grand opening Clifton Park. Bags, this place is insane. We were at the Albany location a couple of weeks ago when that one opened up. I say Albany, some people say Glenmont, but we are here in Clifton Park, right at Route 9 and 146. The line of cars to get to the drive-through is literally backing up traffic on 146. It is insane. This is Onorato and Bagnardi. We are going to pop up at a different Popeyes grand opening all year long. And we're going to talk with Jerome Bettis, the NFL Hall of Fame running back, as well on today's show.
Yeah, I'm excited about that, man, even though we already did it, Magic of Television. He's good, and people are going to enjoy hearing what he has to say. But, yeah, man, this place it's a zoo right now in here. People love that chicken from Popeyes. The slogan is 100% accurate when you look around here. And as you said, man, the car's wrapping around the building. And now you're right, out onto 146. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Crazy. I'm gonna try to give you a little bit of a look.
Do it.
At the restaurant here. Okay.
Yep.
We're dealing with windows.
Yeah, a lot of windows.
We're dealing with shadows.
Yep.
So it's tough.
It is tough.
But you get a little bit of a feel for where we are here in Clifton Park at Popeyes. All right, Jerome Bettis is the real draw of the show. Let's get things going here, Shawnee, on Onorato and Bagnardi.
This is Onorato and Bagnardi, brought to you by Alphabet House.
We've got the Louisiana Fast Minute coming up on today's show as well. Now, let me bring this comment in because our guy Jason Blatsky on Thursday's show said, which one of you guys will be the first to actually finish the Louisiana Fast Minute in a minute? I'm going to try to accomplish it today, but Jay also wants to know what's up with the shirt and tie, Bags.
Right, so the Bettis interview we had earlier, a satellite interview we did over at the TV station, so I figured if I got to stand on the set next to you, it's different when your kitchen is your background. If I'm going to be in the studio where the lighting is good and you're dressed up, I can't look that much like a clown, right?
Right. You got a Hall of Famer talking to you. Let's look presentable.
Yeah.
All right, we've got big games this weekend, obviously, and we did ask Jerome Bettis about those football games, the AFC and NFC championship games. You will hear who he thinks is going to win on Sunday, but for now you're stuck with hearing who we think is going to win on Sunday. What are you smiling about?
Nick's comment. I'll bring it in here. Don't click it. I click it. The Bengals are warming up the bus, not the Jerome Bettis bus, but Nick is so in on this Cincinnati Bengals team that I'm a little bit worried for him because he's going to be heartbroken this weekend. And you can't be heartbroken, right? If they lose, because they had such a good season.
Right.
Burrow has obviously emerged now as one of the top quarterbacks in the game. To some degree, you feel like they're playing with house money, right? Because you're going into Arrowhead, very difficult game. You're the underdog.
You are the king of not ahead of schedule. No house money. You are the king of you. If you get to a certain stage in the postseason, you have to win that game to feel like you really walk away from that year satisfied. You give me garbage about that all the time when I used to say, well, if the Braves get to the NLCS, I'll be happy. That's a good year. And no, it isn't. You get to the NLCS, you want to win the World Series.
Yeah, and especially in football too, where it's like you only got to go win one game, right? If you're a little overmatched in basketball, for instance, it's like, well, we made it to the second or third round, got beat by a team with LeBron James or a team with Kevin Durant, and that's kind of how it goes. But yeah, look, especially the way this playoffs has gone so far, there's no reason they can't go in there and win, and nobody would be shocked by that. Right. You couldn't be. And certainly Kansas City has shown they are vulnerable. They're not the world beaters that I think they were when they were Super Bowl champions. There are deficiencies in this team. Now, certainly the offense is still very good, and we saw last week against Buffalo when push comes to shove and they need to go do something, they still got the best guy to go do that in Patrick Mahomes. So, look, when I say from Nick's perspective, playing with house money,
Yeah.
I just think Burrow, these guys are a little bit ahead of schedule in that regard, and I do see them being good for a few years to come at least, right? So as a fan, you got to be happy with what you've accomplished. But yeah, you get here. That's what I'm saying. It's heartbreaking if you lose, and I'm worried he's going to be heartbroken this week because I do like the Chiefs in this game.
By the way, Popeyes is a little bit of a Bengals flavor here with the orange and
Yeah.
white. I'm looking at Joe Burrow on our screen, and a shout out to our graphics guy, John Conlon,
The
back
best.
at the TV station. I mean, look at some of these graphics he's done. And here are our picks, our partner all season long in the NFL pick segment. Pick 6, handmade vodka, Saratoga Courage Distillery. I like the Chiefs by 5. That would not cover the spread. Bags likes them by 8. That would cover the spread. So,
Yep.
Bags is on the Chiefs to cover. I'm on the Bengals to keep this closer than the guys in the desert think. So I'll take Cincinnati for our purposes of making a pick against the spread. I like the over in this game. 54.5 was the number. You also like the over. So if we're on Caesar's app, whatever you're using these days, I like the over. I like the Bengals.
Yeah, I like the over too. I do think this will be a high-scoring game, maybe even higher than you and I have both put up there. Wouldn't be shocked if we saw
both in
Kansas
30s.
City reach 40 in this game. But that being said, I do believe that if one defense is going to step up and answer the call, I would have to lean to Cincinnati on that. So, yeah, no, to Cincinnati. I really think that Kansas City's defense is a little bit more vulnerable than I would like. And if one defense steps up just a little bit, in fact, I think if Cincinnati winds up winning this game or keeping it closer than even I think they will, even though I have it as just a one-score game at 8 points, I think it'll be because of what they do defensively.
And remember, this was a 34-21 game in Cincinnati's favor. They were home, but in the regular season.
Yeah.
Bengals beat them by 13. So if you want to say you've got faith in the Bengals defense, okay.
Nick wants the balloons behind us. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, look at that. One popped in right as I was looking ahead. But, yeah, he wants the balloons for his Sunday celebration because, as you said, it matches with the Bengals.
I'll tell you what, if the Bengals win on Sunday, I'll find a way to get them some Popeyes balloons. How about that?
Can you swing it?
I don't know.
Okay. We'll go to Party City. It's $5.
I don't know if we know enough people. The NFC Championship game, Niners, Rams.
Yeah,
Vegas thinks one is almost even, if you will, if you put them on a neutral field.
Yep.
I don't know how they would favor it, but they like LA at home, 3.5. Niners have beat them six straight times. 6 straight times.
So what does that tell you?
That the San Francisco defense, now look, Stafford's first year.
Right.
Odell Beckham's first year.
Right.
Von Miller's first year. But what it tells me is that Shanahan and his staff does something that McVay and his staff don't counter well against, no matter who's on the field and what the talent is. So I know you're going to tell me, yeah, but they didn't have Stafford, it was Jared Goff. Yeah, they didn't have over, but it was Shanahan and McVay. So to me, it tells me 6 straight victories. This Niners coaching staff knows something about the way McVay operates, and they're able to neutralize the Rams offense almost no matter who is out there. Go ahead.
How about Billy Blake making an interesting point here? A home game for San Francisco in Los Angeles, thinking they're going to pack the house there. Look, to me, the Rams are the better football team. I don't make as much out of that 6 straight because they are such different versions year to year in football, and certainly when you talk about the key position.
This year, they've lost twice to the Niners.
No, I get that, but people aren't saying, look, they got them twice. This is going to be, it's 6 times. That's the narrative, and I'm just saying that means nothing. So what does that mean? It's definitely going to be 7, or they beat them 6 times. They're so due for a win that it has to be the Rams this time because you can't beat a team 7 times in a row. Right? It means nothing. The six. I get your point, though, about the coaching, and you're right. Maybe there's a little bit to be said for it, but this is a totally different ball game in the postseason. How many of those 6 games were playoff games? Probably none. Right?
Was there one a couple years ago? Might have been one a couple years ago.
Okay. Either way, This is a completely different beast. This is all about the adjustments now. And you have to look at really where these teams are, what they're coming off of. I mean, this Rams team, let's not forget, yeah, they may have lost to the Niners twice this year. Didn't they just go beat Tom Brady on the road? Right? I mean, that's a pretty big accomplishment. I'm more interested in what happened last week as opposed to what happened weeks and weeks ago when these two
And
teams
week
played.
18, LA didn't have anything to play for while San Francisco did, and that was a game that went to overtime, and Garoppolo had to really lead the Niners back in order to win that one. All right, so where are we going on this game?
Now I'm going with the Rams. Pull it up. Here we go. The pick'em.
I'm going with the Rams as well.
Yeah. We
Tighter
both
than you. So I got two closer games than you, but we both think both games are one possession games.
and we're both on the under on this one,
Yes,
right?
we are.
As opposed to the last game where we were on the over. A little bit more from the defenses, I think we expect in this one than we do in that first game, which really means absolutely nothing because you can't pick anything about football this week. Now we'll have a 3-0 game in the AFC, and this will be a complete shootout because who knows? What did you see from the Niners against your Packers that you think gives them the real fighting chance?
Nothing. Green Bay lost that game. The Niners did not. I don't care. Call me a bitter Packers fan. Green Bay lost that game. The Niners did not win it. Garoppolo was terrible, and he wasn't good in Dallas either. He basically almost gave that game away in the first round of the playoffs. So I don't have great confidence that Garoppolo is going to be good enough to win this game for San Francisco. But 6 in a row, 2 in a row, however you want to spin it, I think that is what allows San Francisco to stay close. But I think ultimately the Rams offense and a little bit of Von Miller becomes the advantage for LA.
So let me ask you the question this way. Let's fast forward now. It's Monday. You don't know what happened Sunday. And I tell you, Chris, one team won in a blowout. The other game was very close. One possession, one score game. Came down to the last play. What would you guess?
I would say Chiefs won big.
Not me. I would think the Rams won big. I think San Francisco is the most vulnerable team to get blown out this weekend.
Okay.
And I think the Bengals, in a high-scoring game, their defense could do enough, again, to keep it as close as a one-possession game like I have it. And if their defense really steps up, to do maybe even more than that.
Sam wants to know what's going on with the shirt and tie act here, too. He missed the beginning of the show, but don't worry, Carol, quick to your defense here. Says you look good.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Carol. Yeah. Again, this is more for Bettis. I wouldn't dress up for you. I feel a little overdressed for fast food, but you know what? It is a grand opening, and there are so many people here, and it's such a big deal that it really does fit.
Yes, that's very true. And we're doing two really good things here. We are raising money for the American Cancer Society and for the Shenandoah School District Backpack Program.
Popeyes is.
Yeah.
Well, you say we. We are not.
Is Popeyes a partner of the show?
Boy. So we get to take credit for
association. Are we not teammates?
Okay. So we make really good chicken too. Chris's chicken fingers are unbelievable. Do you think they let us work the drive-through?
Oh, I'm sure we could make that happen.
No, we're not.
Think so?
No, you'd have to be like famous, like real famous.
So we got to get
because we're just two guys in it.
So we get Sabrina and Mark up here.
Yes. You get Kavacha cannon chicken out a window. Okay. You got somebody's attention.
Okay, we can get Kavacha.
You though are recognizable for sure, especially from all your years doing sports, but now even more so with the morning show. Totally different audience. I think you would definitely get recognized. Although people would think, boy, Channel 13 must not be paying so great anymore because now he's
the guy works in the morning job. And now he's here serving lunch.
Yeah, he needs a second job.
Yeah,
all right.
I know. Believe me, I got more than one job. That's for sure. I'd be happy to take on a shift or two here at Popeyes. We're in Clifton Park, Route 146, and Route 9 is where the brand new Popeyes is here in the Capital Region. When we come back here on Onorato and Bagnardi, Jerome Bettis,
the boss,
the Hall of Fame running back, Notre Dame running back, Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh, kind of a coincidence. Absolutely, actually, an absolute coincidence. Big Ben retires. We got Bettis on the show. We'll ask him about Big Ben. We'll ask him who he likes this weekend. And we'll ask him about going back to college many, many years after he left South Bend to become an NFL running back. The boss next right here on O&B.
Overweight. If you snore, don't wait for your next physical to find out you have sleep apnea. It could cost you your job. Call Dr. Frederick Dreyer at the Integrative Sleep Center for a game-changing alternative in sleep apnea treatment and get a good night's rest.
Teams, athletes, organizations. We're transforming the custom apparel industry through product and purpose. Claim your crown.
Wondering what to do now that your Philips CPAP was recalled? Dr. Frederick Dreyer has a safe and effective alternative treatment for sleep apnea. Just pop it in and get a good night's rest. Keep your quality of life. Call the Integrative Sleep Center today. We work with all insurances.
And now, back to Onorato and Bagnardi. Brought to you by Alpin House.
Welcome back to Onorato and Bagnardi. Bags. I mean, look at the guy in between us here. We should almost just step out of frame completely and let the boss have the screen to himself. The NFL Hall of Famer Jerome Bettis with us here on Onorato and Bagnardi. Jerome, thank you for the time, man. How are you?
I am great. Thanks for having me on.
We've got important things to discuss here, and it goes back to when you were 14 years old. Before we do that, though, I'm most curious about your time back in South Bend. Is college easier as a Hall of Famer?
No, it's much more difficult. For me, it's the technology issue. I mean, I didn't have a computer when I went to school the first time. So now dealing with the computer and emails and all the other things you have to do, much different.
All right. So I got to ask you, Jerome, you're of course known as the boss.
Yeah.
And you were known for hitting people maybe even harder than the defensive players hit the offensive players. But was there any guy in your whole career who you were like, you know what, I don't want to get hit by him on Sunday?
Ooh.
Oh, my goodness. That's a good one. There was Sam Adams. He was a huge defensive tackle. He would block the sun when he'd walk by you. I mean, he was a huge guy. Played for Seattle and then played for the Baltimore Ravens. Yeah. And we had a bunch of battles, but he was a gigantic man and was tough. So he was one of those guys that I didn't want to see coming.
All right, how about your quarterback in Pittsburgh? He was a big guy, too, and Ben Roethlisberger announces his retirement. 18 years at that position, 5th all-time in passing yards, 8th in passing touchdowns. Did you expect this? I know you're plugged into the Steelers, obviously, with your show in Pittsburgh, and what can you say about Big Ben's career?
I mean, just an amazing career, a legend, and one that's going to be sorely missed. When I think about Ben's career, I just think he was a winner. He was a champion. He found a way to win. Whenever the Steelers took the field, if number 7 was on the field, you knew you had a chance to win the football game. And that was the case his entire career, up until his last game. You didn't know if they were going to win or lose, but you knew the Steelers had a chance if Ben was out on the field. Now, with him stepping away, there's a huge void that's going to be left in that locker room, on that field, and with the organization. And it's going to be tough shoes to fill because he was a great, great football player.
Do you have a Big Ben story you can tell us quickly, maybe an off-the-field one that a lot of people don't know?
Well, when he first came, he was a rookie that didn't know anything, and he came to me. I was the first person that he reached out to, wanting to know about Pittsburgh. He didn't know what to expect, and so I just told him, "Hey, you got to be cool, calm, and collective, and you got to cut your hair."
And now he's got a sandwich named after him, for crying out loud. So he ended up doing okay and taking your advice on how to adapt to Pittsburgh. Jerome Bettis with us, courtesy of Air Serve, and I know we've got some air quality stuff to talk about here with you, Jerome. But first, I want to ask you about the games this weekend. Can you give us a couple of quick picks here? Who do you like in the AFC and NFC Conference Championship games?
Man, it's gonna be two great games, and AFC I'll look at first because I was predominantly an AFC player. I'm going to go with Kansas City. I think Cincinnati is, they're a really good football team. They've got a chance to win this game, but in Kansas City with that team, I just think Kansas City is going to win. On the defensive side, on the NFC side, I just think the Rams cannot lose for a seventh time in a row. I think the Rams win this game.
Did you leave any of your heart in St. Louis, or do you still pull for the Rams even though they're in a different city now at all?
I do slightly, if it's all even. I don't like the 49ers, obviously. Playing for the Rams, you just dislike the 49ers so much. So I'm definitely going to be pulling for the Rams, never for the 49ers.
Yeah, I hear that. Okay.
Jerome, we had Terrell Davis on the show, and I asked him a question. I want to see if your answer is similar. I asked him, as a running back, when you know where a play is designed and a hole is supposed to be in a certain place, when you hit that hole, you get to that spot, how much of it then is still the scouting report in your mind, whether it's where the defense is, what defensive players are coming at you, or how much of it at that point, once you go to that spot, is just read and react?
It's all read and react. Once you get to that spot, a play is designed to tell you where to go. It doesn't tell you it's going to be there. It's telling you where to go. So if you go there, and then at that point, your natural ability has to take over, and then you got to fill it out from there. So the play is designed to go to the right. As soon as I get the ball and go to the right, if they overplay that, then I got to cut and go to the left. So it's all about feel, knowing where the play is designed to go, but that's not always where the play ends up.
Shawnee, we're talking to a guy who did something that probably Tom Brady won't even get to do, and that is walk off with a Super Bowl title. Jerome Bettis, a Super Bowl champion with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And how about, funny enough, our executive producer, who is in the control room helping us out with this interview, told us that the guy who flipped the coin before that game started, the Super Bowl, when he beat the Seahawks, was Tom Brady.
Yeah, so they had all of the MVPs for all the Super Bowls lined up and had them all there, and I don't even remember. I don't remember that he was one of the guys that flipped the coin.
Yeah, there you go. All right, you can see the helmet behind the bus, Air Serve, and go back to when you're 14 years old, Jerome, and you find out you have asthma. How did it affect you then, and did you think it would have a long-term effect on your ability to be an athlete?
Well, at first, initially, when I was diagnosed with asthma, I didn't think I had a chance to even be an athlete. So I thought my athletic career was over before it even started. And but fortunately, my mom and dad, they were diligent. They said, hey, you can do whatever you want to do as long as you manage the asthma. And part of managing the asthma was also managing our indoor living space and managing to make sure the indoor air quality was good, and that meant excluding some things. For example, my mom and sister, no perfume in the house because obviously that was an irritant. No pets, and so we were very conscious growing up. I know I was making sure that the air quality was really good. And I think we all should do that now. We should be conscious of the air quality in our homes because it can make you sick. It can give you headaches and you can be fatigued. All of these things are significant in your home, but there's things that we all can do in our homes to help. You can clean the air filter. You can go with real plants instead of fake plants, organic candles, things of that nature that can help. But the biggest help of all would be to get a air quality test and have the people from AirServe, a neighborly company, come in and check the air quality in your home, tell you where you are, so that now that becomes an important part of your well-being.
What message would you have to a youngster who is maybe in the same spot you were? They've got asthma, they're worried, every time they work out, they're at the gym in school or something like that, and all of a sudden they have that feeling where they can't breathe. What would you say to them about moving forward?
I would just tell them to make sure they learn more about the asthma, how it affects them personally, and what the triggers are. Because the more you know, the more you're educated about the asthma, the more you're going to be able to manage your asthma effectively.
Jerome Bettis, you work with I went to Ithaca College. You work regularly with a much more talented Ithaca College grad in Pittsburgh, Jenna Harner. That's easy to do, to beat me out in the talent department. But I see Bomber proud for sure, all the way from Albany, New York to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania as well. This was a treat for us. And look, in the time of a pandemic, how often do we talk about air quality and those types of things? So certainly a timely topic here to talk with the Hall of Famer from the Pittsburgh Steelers, Jerome Bettis. Jerome, thank you so much for taking the time with us.
Hey, thank you. And just think, airserve.com for any questions that you may have.
Happiness is found in simple things. The sun on your face, sharing laughs, at the campground, getting wet, relaxing together, the love of family. There's never been a better time to go outside and play. Alpenhaus Pool Spa Boat and RV, bringing families together and creating memories since 1964.
At Marcella's Appliance Center, our commitment is to you, providing essential appliances that families depend on for cooking, refrigeration, cleaning, and sanitation, plus appliance repair. You can have peace of mind that Marcella's is here for you today and every day, like we have been since 1957, helping you make the right choice with trusted brands like Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid, Genair, and many more. Shop Marcella's Appliance Center in-store, online, or by phone. We're here for you.
And now, back to Onorato and Bagnardi. Brought to you by Alpenhaus.
Man, that was awesome. Talking to Jerome Bettis, huh? That's not so bad, is it, Bags? No. We are live at Popeyes in Clifton Park, the intersection of 146 and Route 9.
If you had told me, hey, a big perk next week for the podcast, you're going to be eating some chicken, I'd be like, that's a big week. I'm happy. I'm a happy camper. Tell me, hey, by the way, you're going to talk to a Hall of Fame running back. I mean, we've been blessed to get some really good guests on this show. Yeah. He is right up there, though, with the biggest of the big names. As I mentioned, Terrell Davis in the interview, he's another one who stands out for me. But guys who we watched growing up who were at the top of the league. I mean, they were the best players in the game when they were doing it, and we got to see that at the height of our sports fandom, that young age where it's so impressionable on you. So to get to talk to these guys now years later really is something I really enjoy.
Biggest name on the show so far. By the way, let me bring in this comment from Nick real quick. I think the bus wanted out of St. Louis. That's how my memory serves, Nick, but don't quote me on it as a reputable journalist. Biggest guest we've had on the show.
He's up there, right? He's up there.
Bettis.
Yeah.
No doubt.
He's up there.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and think. I don't want to shortchange anybody.
Yeah.
Some people say, well, you had to talk to Keenan Thompson and Chelsea Handler, right? Because you have the people who, for some reason, watch the show who aren't the biggest sports fans. I think they find you entertaining.
Oh, interesting.
I also just want to get I do want to get Uslick's comment in here. Vor Unga Thank you for
Now
that.
you have no idea what that means. It could be some cryptic
No, it's
code
not.
that
That's
is
a bot.
being used as international warfare on YouTube.
Right.
And now you're spraying all over Onorato and Bagnardi.
You're worried about the Russians hacking this show or something? They got 130,000 troops ready to invade Ukraine. You think they're worried about Onorato and Bagnardi? Okay, come on. Maybe.
Stranger Things.
Can you imagine Putin comments? I like about this interview.
You guys are talking of hockey.
Yeah, no hockey or shirtless horseback riding.
Why do you talk about Sergei Fedorov at all?
Yeah.
I don't know. Sorry. Yeah.
Are you excited at all about the Olympics?
I will get there.
No. Listen, we're an NBC affiliate.
Yeah, I will get there. I haven't thought about it because the NFL playoffs, the Super Bowl.
Sure.
I haven't thought about it enough. And honestly, no NHL players in hockey.
Couldn't care less about hockey now because of that right?
Hurts.
Yeah. It'd be like if hoops did no NBA now, you just couldn't. What's the point?
Yeah. But I will get into it with the downhill and honestly, even the figure skating. Every time somebody leaves the surface of ice, disaster is possible. And that's what you're like, oh my God, is he or she going to land this or not? That's why you watch.
Yeah.
That's why you watch.
Curling is fun during the Winter Olympics.
Is fun.
That's cool to watch.
Yeah.
It's like, you're sitting there at 3 a.m. watching watching something live. Are you coming to bed? U.S. Canada's in the 7th end. Yeah, sweep. I mean, that's so. Yeah, I enjoy that. I enjoy the figure skating too. Yeah, that's fun.
Speed skating.
Yeah, I think the winter ones are easier to just kind of tune in. I guess I care most about basketball, right? So the summer, although you know me, I wasn't as high on it this last time, but the Summer Olympics, I think have the one or two sports maybe that I care the most about, but the Winter Olympics have the ones where you can just tune in and watch almost anything because they're just so interesting. They don't have a ton of like raise your eyebrow kind of events like some of the ones in the summer games for me. So I would
like Shaun White back on a snowboard. I'm into that. You know what I mean? I'll get into it.
I mean, this is from the WNYT. I watch for the crashes.
I have a suspicion as to who that might be.
Who is it?
Well, it's one of a few people who have access to the account.
Yeah, and you're not going to.
I would love it if that was our director of the web department. That would be the greatest comment of all time.
Oh yeah.
From the News Channel 13 account.
I watch for the crashes.
Absolutely love it. All right, let's get going here. Popeyes Louisiana Fast Minute as we are live in Clifton Park from the new Popeyes. Here's my issue. Did you see what happened here? Carmelo Anthony gets into it with a fan courtside in Philadelphia. The fan, according to Melo, called him boy. Enough with these fans, and they're NBA fans who are the problem because the access is too easy. I've had it with people at sporting events thinking they are entitled to say, throw, or in Trae Young's case, spit something at one of these guys. You paid for a ticket that gives you no right to do anything other than talk some slight trash, and of course the mouth and palace.
Yeah, I mean that's different.
Is a whole nother level.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, this is not out of the realm of possibility of happening again. This just continues, to my mind, to get worse. It has happened in the playoffs. It happened with Russell Westbrook. It happened with Trae Young. Enough, fans. You bought a ticket. That doesn't mean you can now just be completely disrespectful to these guys on the court.
I don't disagree. My take on this probably won't be particularly popular. I'm with you on all of it except for the saying what you want, right? I mean, you pay a lot of money to sit in those front row seats there. Yes, you can't throw anything. You certainly can't touch any players. You can't interfere with the game in any way. You can kind of say what you want.
No, be a responsible member of society. Don't start throwing racial.
I get it. Saying stuff about people's mamas and all that stuff. I get it. But at the same time, that's the stuff you just have to let go. And I know it's easy for me to sit here on a sports talk podcast and say, just ignore the guy making the racial comment or making the other inappropriate comment. But like, you're better than that. That person is so meaningless to you. You almost give them credibility when you get into it. I'm not going to ever blame somebody who gets offended by something or who wants to say something back. That's your right too. Like, You have the right if somebody wants to sit there and be an a-hole to give it back to them. But at the same time, I prefer the pro athlete just to blow them off as the meaningless that they are.
But if I told you that every time an athlete reacted the way Carmelo Anthony did on Thursday night, that fan would be banned from that arena for life,
It should be.
then it's worth the fan acknowledging this fan. That's worth the player acknowledging this fan's idiocy.
Yeah, I guess because that's probably the only way to bring attention to that particular fan, right? Because if you ignore it, then that doesn't happen. But you're gonna just sit there and yell stuff. I'm okay with where is the line? I guess you would say something racial or something.
Look, Melo even said after the game, "I'm good with trash talk. I'm good with fans rooting for their team, booing us, all that. But when you cross a line, this is his quote: when you cross a line as a man, this is what's going to happen."
And I get it, and you shouldn't cross that line. But these guys are saying worse to each other on the court. You know what I mean? So and I understand why you're offended by something that is inherently offensive. I'd prefer the pro athletes just blow it off because look, the people sitting there paying millions of dollars to scream at you.
Yeah.
That's a part of why you're able to do what you do and get paid all that money. I mean, I would always take the high ground to say just ignore that person because you kind of give them credibility. But I do like the fact that they've got to be pointed out and just thrown out because that's how you do ultimately get rid of it. So it's unfortunate, I guess, that a player has to be the one to point them out. Maybe a ref. Or somebody else to be like, this person's got to go. And the player can just kind of take the high ground and say, we're ignoring that. Don't even acknowledge.
Jason's the guy who challenged our clock keeping skills a day ago. I was right on, man. I played through the buzzer, but I was.
You know what it is for me? Here's why I think I have this take too. Because we have idiots who call the TV station and I wind up having to talk to them. We have one who is particularly racist who calls the TV station who I have to talk to. And you know what it is? They're looking for that.
Of course.
And it's almost like, and I get being offended and I get firing back, but it's almost like it feels like that lets them win just a little bit because they get that.
I know.
You get Carmelo Anthony's attention.
I know.
Just that guy's a scumbag. Just, you know what I mean? I always try to just never let it.
Why, as society, do we have to put it on the professionals who are trying to do their job and not the people who are in the arena? Why are we giving the fans a pass instead of saying, hey, this is on the players? Why can't we hold the fans responsible?
Well, I agree. And I'm not saying the players. I'm not putting anything on the players. And I'm certainly not trying to give the fans a pass. I think they should be tossed and banned if they say something like that. I would just like to see the pro athletes not even acknowledge them because it's what they want, All
right, you ready to go?
But I'm not going to fault anybody who does, just to be clear.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. Let's
ready to go on the clock? Here you go.
Here we go. I'm on the clock. Where's my minute?
You know what?
You don't have the minute.
Just a slideshow.
Just a slideshow. Fine. I'll keep it to roughly. All right, here we go. And 3, 2, 1. All right. The Baseball Hall of Fame is broken, Chris. You and I talked about this. We did a live reaction when we found out that Bonds and Clemens were not in and Ortiz was. And as I said to you, I'm happy these guys aren't in. They shouldn't be. They shouldn't be acknowledged and put on a pedestal for cheating. They cheated. They have incredible numbers. The numbers mean nothing because you don't know how many of them are legitimate. But
30 seconds.
The system is broken, Chris. We need to completely revamp how we do it. And I don't have the exact solution, but we need more involvement than just sports writers. We need a different system than to say this select group of people is going to decide if you get 75%, you're in or you're out. And they're going to gradually move people up and give people different percentage of votes every year. That's it. So anyway, system is broken. I would blow it up entirely because baseball needs to start over with this process.
Okay. And for the record, we don't have a problem with the way the vote went, but you want to blow up the system. Well, you don't like that Poppy's in.
Right. I don't. Okay. It contradicts itself too often.
You're saying it's too subjective, really, in a lot of ways.
But the whole thing is going to be subjective as to who's a Hall of Famer and who isn't. There's got to be some subjectivity involved in it. But these guys, first of all, if you don't vote for Derek Jeter, you're out. You don't get to vote. What is the screening process, I guess? And there is one, right? I mean, who decides? The Hall of Fame decides who's going to be a Hall of Fame voter, right?
Yes.
Okay. I think maybe their process of how they pick people needs to be
a member of
and it needs to be opened up to be on just the sports writers.
You have to be a member of the Baseball Writers of America Association. So that's one thing. Yeah.
How about current Hall of Famers?
Yeah, I would be all for that.
Okay.
They get to decide who belongs in there with them. Okay.
How about it's a perk of being a manager, a current manager in the league? You get a vote, right? Other people who...
A mix of managers and general managers?
Sure. A mix of managers, general managers. Throw in a small percentage of a fan vote. A small percentage.
Talk about popularity votes, man. That's why the All-Star game is such a joke, because the fans vote for it.
I'm just saying there need to be more voices in the room because the current system isn't working.
Okay. All right. They say love that chicken. I'm about to go love some of that chicken here at Popeyes in Clifton Park. Honorato and Bagnardi signing off for now at another grand opening here. We are in Clifton Park, 146 Route 9 is the spot to find the new Popeyes. The line is like you would not believe. So if you're watching us and you want to grab some dinner, plan on maybe a little bit of a wait. It is worth the wait. We're back next week with Andrew Brandt, NFL insider. Aaron Rodgers coming back to Green Bay. He'll tell us. That's next week on Onorato and Bagnardi, 10 o'clock Thursday morning.